guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video, which is a December eyeshadow palette extravaganza. So I did this same video, I think it was in November. I lose track of time, but basically that month I had purchased also so many eyeshadow palettes and had used them and had thoughts and just kind of wanted to bundle it all into one video so that one, you could see what I purchased, kind of like a little eyeshadow palette haul, but also so that you have an idea of how they worked for me, so that if you've had your eye on any one of them, you kind of know, what they're like. And so I figured I would do the same thing for the month of December, because December also saw quite a bit of eyeshadow palettes. A couple of these I did get for Christmas, and the rest I picked up on my own. You're going to find that there are a couple Morphe and a whole lot of Colourpop in here, and so that made it a little bit more, I guess, attainable to get such a bundle of eyeshadow palettes, because we all know eyeshadow palettes are not cheap. So that being said, if you're interested in seeing all of the eyeshadows I picked up for the month of December, as well as pretty much mini reviews on most of these, then just keep on watching. Alright, I'm kind of not sure where to even start, but let me go ahead and grab a wipey so that I can be sure to give y'all swatches. So again, I picked up quite a bit in the month of December. This is probably enough eyeshadow to last me for, the next decade, but that's okay. Eyeshadow is my thing. That's pretty much the main thing that I like. Okay, who are we kidding? I like to buy all categories of makeup, but eyeshadow has always been my favorite kind of thing. So before we get started, and before I forget to ask, please give this video a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind, or wait till the end of the video to make sure that you actually liked it. But those thumbs up really do help quite a bit. And then if you are new to my channel, I hope that by the end of this video you will have liked what you've seen and you will consider subscribing. I really would love to have you as part of this YouTube family, and it would mean so much. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with Melt Cosmetics. I did pick up the Vida and Muerte palettes, which I really wasn't, I was kind of conflicted on these only because of, I don't really buy things with, this kind of artwork, but I did end up picking them up, and so these are very pretty palettes. So if you are unfamiliar, these palettes, this whole collection by one of the brand owners was really just kind of bringing out her Mexican heritage. She had a lot of Mexico memories, and she put a lot of that into this collection, and I think you can tell. Both the names of the shades, just kind of the whole vibe, the whole feel. And the packaging, honestly, is really lovely. It's raised, and it's got, like, I don't know, it's very glossy. The flowers, you can tell, like, they're very, it's very luxe, I think. And so they weren't any kind of cheap. They were, I think, like $59 each, but I did use my, I don't know if coupon is the right word, but it was during the time when it was like, okay, for Rouge it was 25 off of 75, and for VIB it was 20 off of whatever. Anyway, so I did pick them up. Melt can be very hit or miss for me, and there's a couple palettes that I love, there's a couple palettes I'm not as excited about, and I will tell you that these really were, and I'm happy to report that these were very, they were what I had hoped they would be. They were very opaque, very pigmented, and here's the crazy thing. So let me give you swatches. I feel like I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. This is the Vida palette. Very rich, very bold, and I feel like the more popular one was the other one, the dark kind of shades, the vampy shades. Just that was really what people wanted, because that has since sold out on the Sephora website. I don't know if on the Melt website, I did not check, but it looked like this particular one was still in stock last time I checked. So I really do enjoy following Temptalia. I have followed her for years, literally. And I just really enjoy her blog and her reviews. I always have. Here is the Muerte palette. And the crazy thing is, she didn't give these as good as a review as I had hoped, and she had mentioned that there were a couple of the shades, primarily I think it was these satiny metallic type of shades, that she said did not work well for her. And because of that, the palettes didn't get as good of a grade or a review. If you're familiar with Temptalia, then you know that she scores things like on an A, B, C, D kind of scale. And I can't remember what the ranking was, but it wasn't great, and the description wasn't great, especially when it came to these and like that green one up there. I have not found that to be the case, and I do find that from time to time she'll rate one thing one way. It's kind of like movie critics. When movie critics don't like something, I end up loving a movie, and vice versa. When they end up loving a movie, I end up hating it. And so I find that sometimes it's the same way with makeup reviews, and this was not an exception. So I was very pleasantly surprised. These really are worth the money, in my opinion, both for packaging, the little border up here, it's like in the papel picado lettering, so pretty, and I don't know, I was really happy and pleased with these. And those are not the most expensive ones I picked up, but 2 of the 4 most expensive, and I'll go over those next. And then we'll go over to budget-friendly palettes. So you may have already watched my review on these. These are the Pat McGrath Star Wars Collection palettes. This one's called Galactic Gold, and it's got C-3PO on the cover, and this is Dark Galaxy, and it's got what I keep on wanting to call it a stormtrooper, but I think the red ones, correct me if I'm wrong, are called Death Troopers. Have seen the movie. We love Star Wars, but I'm more the classic trilogy type of girl. But I think these are Death Troopers. Correct me if I'm wrong if you are a Star Wars fan. So I did pick both of these up, and I'm very glad that I did for 2 reasons, especially, like I said, if you have already seen that review, then you know why. I find that there are a few shades in here. Let's just say 2 or 3 shades that are very unique, and I love that. I love when I get a hold of a palette that has something that's unique and different, something I don't have that I can reach for that's just out of the ordinary. Aside from that, yes, there are some not dupes. I have heard somebody did comment in this video that there were a few re-promotes. I didn't even do a comparison of that because my review was strictly for these, but I do know that she does do similar type of shades like bronze and gold and things like that. So I was already expecting some sort of similarity, just some sort of variation. I will tell you that for $65, I love the packaging. It doesn't have the little elastic thing with the little cardboard disc thing to hook it onto. I love that. But I will tell you that it was disappointing that mine came completely unglued, oops, didn't mean to blind you, from the box. So it's got the tacky part right here, and then you can tell where it came unglued. You've got the little cardboard pieces there. So that kind of cheapened it for me a little bit, but aside from that, I mean, that's a small price to pay. I think because a lot of people were receiving theirs completely broken, and I'm very grateful that that wasn't me. So let me give you a couple of swatches. So I'm going to definitely give you a swatch of my favorite shade, which I need to bring back over the little slip thingy. So, okay. So let me give you, I'll give you 2 shades. I will give you this one, which is my favorite out of this palette. It's got like it's like a champagne with a green type of tint, and then the bright gold. So this is Galactic Gold, and this is Gold Standard. And they are just very Pat McGrath, opaque, very saturated in color, liquid metal type of shades. Very pleasantly surprised, since I was not a fan of Divine Rose. And again, you may have already seen that video, but if not, then you need to check that out, because I was not a fan. Everybody seems to love that one, and that's just not me. And then let me give you a couple of swatches of this one right here. This one is stunning. It's a pink, but it's got a very strong gold shift, and it is lovely. So that's what those 2 look like, and I, again, so happy that I was happy, so happy I was happy with these palettes, because again, after Divine Rose, I was like, I don't know, it kind of turns you off a little bit, you know, when you pay that much for something and then you're just a little disappointed, you just kind of turns you off, especially when you've got like brands such as Colourpop coming out with really amazing products for a fraction of the price. So that is that. I did pick those up. So let's move on to Morphe. And then the rest, you guys, is going to be Colourpop. So Morphe's very hit or miss for me. The bronze palette that they came out with last summer, it looks so good in pictures, and then when I received it, I wasn't a fan, and I ended up decluttering that one, I think on Poshmark. And that's been a similar story for a few others that I've picked up by Morphe. Now, there are a couple that I do really like from the brand. I will just say that I do enjoy the Jaclyn Hill Vault. I have since decluttered her actual big palette. I liked it, I just wasn't reaching for it. The Vault I tend to reach for a little bit more. Maybe it's just because they're smaller palettes, but for the Vault, I like the more foiled, creamy type of shadows. I don't really use the mattes as much, and I know that's what the real issue was. So again, it can be very hit or miss for me. So I'm super selective what I buy from the brand. The color story really has to speak to me, which that's huge when you buy an eyeshadow palette. It has to really appeal to you. And then of course from there, it's like, all right, well, let's see what the quality looks like. So I did end up picking up the holiday palette, which was 39L Hit the Lights. If you've watched a couple of my videos within just the month of December, then you know that I loved this palette. And I even put this as one of my holiday glitter 2019 options, just because it's got a few options in there that add just like a twinkle and not hardcore sparkle for those of you who like to dial it back a little bit. But this really impressed me. Now, I had put it in my loves list and I was like, I'm not gonna pay $42 for it. Well, it went on sale and I had a coupon. I got it for like $28, and then it went on sale even more for like $21, and I'm like, really? Anyways, that's okay though. So it is very large. When I was using it, my husband said it looks like you're working with like a paintbrush, like an artist's palette, like you need a paintbrush and you're painting something on a canvas. And that's real. I had not thought of that, but it does look like that. So here's what drew me into this color story. I love bright shades. Love. If there's something like that, then already I am drawn in. In addition to that, I love like oranges and reds. And then, of course, it had the option of a couple of glitters. It had, like, everything. It had things that I like, but it also had other things that just kind of pulled it all together for me. When I first swatched these in store, they were very thin, which I'm typically not a fan of thinner consistency eyeshadows. I find them to be a little more sheer, a little more difficult to work with. And these ended up being beautiful. Now, I do use them as toppers. I go in over top of something to add, like I said, that twinkle, but they are just so pretty. And they're very reflective without being super overboard. So if you're someone, again, that just is not a fan, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not. I think so. If you're not a fan of the super chunky sparkle, but you like something a little bit more dialed back, maybe a little more elegant, then this has that, and I really do like that. I find that the pigments in here, or the shadows in here, to be quite pigmented, easy to work with. This was one that really did impress me. And typically I find their mattes to be very dry and chalky to the touch, and a lot of these are not, which is crazy to me. So definitely, just notice I'm wearing a white sweater and I'm working with a lot of color here. I'm going to church here after this, so I better be careful. Just really easy to work with, very pretty, very opaque, and it's, you know, with more options like this as far as cost, I don't know, y'all. It makes me wonder, like, if the more expensive brands, like, they're really gonna have to step it up and come out with things that are more unique to make people want to pay that extra money. Now, granted, Morphe, I feel like, is a little bit more of a controversial brand because of like certain popular YouTubers that just constantly promote. So I feel like they've gotten a bad name. To me, it's not about that. It's about like the product itself, and, you know, do you put out a good product? And I feel like sometimes it works for me, and the price tag is very decent. So the other item I picked up from Morphe, which I've only used once, so I can't really give you a full-on review on it. What I can tell you is that first impression I liked very much, but this is another one that the color story just called to me. It's 3503 Fierce by Nature, and let me tell you why this color story just drew me in. So I've already told you I love bright shades. So this neon green, neon orange, neon pink, and this Bold Copper Sparkle. How can anything look more appealing than this? So we'll see as I play with it some more. So far, I'm liking it very much, like I said. And just, I love these types of shades. Just very, very pretty, easy to work with. And let me swatch this green for you. So that's what that one looks like. It's looking a little dull in the viewfinder. It's pretty neon in real life, but this one does swatch pretty sheer, and I really haven't dived into, like I said, this palette, but this shade I really haven't played with a whole lot either. So like I said, first impression based on what I used, liked very much, but I did more of a kind of fall winter type of look. Have not yet played with these super brights. So just wanted to feature it in here because I did pick it up in the month of December. So we'll see. It's promising. All right, you guys. The last palettes are going to be Colourpop. And when I say I did a lot of Colourpop in the month of December, I did a lot of Colourpop in December. Two of these were Christmas gifts, so let's just go ahead and start with those. They were nothing new, but Colourpop releases so often that I find it hard to be able to place an order every time they release something. Primarily because I don't want to pay for the shipping. Their palettes are so affordable that it's usually like $12 or $15 for a palette, and it's like $5, $6 for shipping. So I'm thinking, why would I pay half for shipping? I'd rather just wait for things to come out where I can maybe create a bundle and do like an order of 3 or 4 palettes or products. Anyways, so that being said, there's still a few I have not picked up, but for Christmas I did ask for the Orange You Glad and the Bitti Colourpop Sugar Something Candy Button eyeshadow palettes, and oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I did. Now I tell you, I have not even touched this one yet, but it's no surprise that the Orange You Glad is just as incredible as all of their other monochromatic palettes. This is so good. So I'm going to tell you, I have used this primarily for the mattes so far, because lately what I've been doing is just simple eye looks to get out the door. If I'm going to go to work, if I'm going to run errands, whatever the case may be, I've been trying not to go with like a bare eye or like just mascara. I've been trying to pop something in my crease, and this, oh my gosh, I remember the first time that I used it, that I put it on, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the most amazing thing. I remember the first time that I used this palette, I even remember like I put it on my crease and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So, you know, I can't speak highly enough about this palette. Again, it's nothing new, but you know, and you may have owned it since it released, but it's definitely new to me and I love it. My fingers are looking so dingy from that blue shade from the Melt palette, so I'm sorry about that. And you know, Colourpop shadows a lot of times don't swatch the best, but let me tell you, they are some sort of special. So I got that, and then again, I got this Candy Button palette for Christmas. I love the packaging. It's so pretty. It's so appealing, and this middle row, I am so excited to use. It's so pretty. It's everything that speaks to me, and I just love it. It's such a girly palette, and I'm really, really happy to have it. So I did pick, that one up. My husband picked that one up, and I got that one for Christmas. Okay, so let's go with the Mega palette next. So originally when I saw the stock photo for this, I was like, I am definitely gonna wait. I don't need to get that right away. I'm trying to be better with like budget and just kind of allotting money here or there, whatever. But then I thought the Bare Necessities? Is that the name of it? Gosh, I feel like I'm like being taken back to like the Jungle Book right now. Baloo. But I think it's the Bare Necessities. It sold out over time, but during the holidays it did sell out. I think right now it's back in stock. So I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to pick this up. In addition, I had watched a couple of people who had received the palette prior to release, and they sold it for me. So you guys, this, I did not expect the packaging to be as beautiful as it is. It's like a faux, I don't even know how to describe it to you. It's like, it looks like a purse. I'm not sure if you're going to even be able to see it, but it's got this textured type of, I don't know how to describe it to you, quite frankly. Like, it's just absolutely stunning. It almost looks like leather. I don't know. Am I weird for saying that? But And I love that it's got the pink and the gold. I feel like that's such a beautiful combination. It's so girly. This is beautiful. And it was $30, typically $34, but for the release, they had it on at a $30 promotion. They may still, I don't know. But okay, so the stock photos do not do this palette justice. Really do not. It's what I'm wearing on my eyes today. And I absolutely love, love, love. So if, again, going back to the whole Pat McGrath Divine Rose, if you watch that video, you know that primarily I wanted that palette for one shade, and it was that apricot looking type of shade, that peachy, I don't know, it's like a peachy orange type shade. And it didn't do what I had hoped it would do. There is a shade in this palette that looks very similar, and it does what I want it to do. So it's just very girly. I feel like there's so many options in here, and you may think, okay, it's nothing new. I don't know, something about it, just it has the pinks, it has the purples, the peaches. It's very girly. You can do so much. A gradient look, you can do just a quick pop, you know, in the crease for a girly look. It's very, very beautiful, and I am thoroughly, thoroughly enjoying it, and I'm very glad I picked it up. I'm going to give you a swatch of my very favorite shade, and again, I'm sorry, my fingers are looking so dingy. That Melt palette is no joke, but I feel like a lot of brands are putting this type of shade in here, but in their palettes, but here we go. So Tropical Punch is my absolute favorite shade out of this palette. Here is Dear Diary, and this one's called Downtime, which is like a MAC blue-brown pigment type of shade. So many brands put those now in their palettes, and I can take it or leave it. I feel like it's kind of been overdone, and I think that's the thing about Colourpop, is that a lot of people are saying, and rightly so, like, you know, there's a lot of, maybe not re-promotes, but almost identical shades across multiple palettes, and I think so too. Sometimes you look at one of their palettes and you're like, I definitely don't need that. I've got, you know, probably got 3 of those types of shades in different Colourpop palettes. But that's why, like, I am really looking for those color schemes that, one, either speak to me, or it may have a few shades that I don't already have, either by the brand or at all, at this point by the brand. But that being said, let's move on to these 3. These were the 3 butterfly palettes that released at Ulta, and then after that they released them on the Colourpop website. I don't know if they're still there, but they did, as of maybe about a week ago, maybe a little longer, release on the Colourpop website. So this is Give Me Butterflies, then you have A Flutter, and then you have Butter Me Up. And I have to tell you that if I had to choose favorite Colourpop palettes out of my whole collection, it would be these. These are some of the most stunning palettes they have ever released, quite frankly, and it blew my mind that they were this inexpensive. So the packaging, stunning. For Colourpop, I mean, they usually have really cute packaging, but sometimes they take it a step further. Like the Frozen palettes, I thought those were beautiful as it related to packaging. They had glitter, they had just, I mean, there was a lot of detail, and this is no exception. They've got, the outlines has glitter. It's very, very detailed, very pretty, and I can't get enough. They are so girly, you guys. So girly, so feminine, just stunning, and the quality is everything you would expect in a Colourpop palette. Just look at this. Ugh, as I'm dropping crumbs on the carpet. This is absolutely beautiful. I have loved this one so, so much. Oh my goodness, you guys. So let me... Oh my gosh, do you see that? So this is like that pink kind of duochrome. This, look how intense that is. And again, sometimes Colourpop shadows don't swatch the best, but I feel like you can tell when it's extra, when it's going to pack an extra punch, when it swatches that well. So this was Gimme Butterflies. And then Butter Me Up is the one I originally had seen at the store, and I was like, oh, that's kind of pretty. I think I need to check those out. And that's what kind of sold me on these. So this is the deeper of the 3. It's got like the darker shades. It's got the purples. Again, very, very pretty. It's beautiful, and I very much like it. However, the one I just showed you, I like over this one. But again, this one is also just stunning. Very, very pretty. How is that even possible? Let's see. So that's what those 2 look like right there. And I think these were, they were about 18 each. These were a little higher, but I had like a $10 off coupon at Ulta. I think it was like if you 10 off of 50, or was it 10 off of 50? No. Yeah, 10 off of 50, I think. Anyways, so I ended up putting that to use with these. And then the last one is called A Flutter. Oh, you guys, these are just so amazing. And look how pretty. The lining is in gold glitter. Just stunning. So, so pretty. Now, if I had to rank them, the very first one I showed you is my first favorite. This is my second, and then the deepest one is my third, only because that deepest one has just your average gray and brown, and these have more your pops of spring colors. But there's this shade called it's 000, but it's like Out of Office. This is like a Super Shock shade. This is Out of Office. Oh my gosh, you guys, so beautiful. And it's crazy. Like, I cannot wait to continue using these in the spring. I really just use them for the purposes of kind of testing them out and seeing if I was going to like them. And oh boy, did I like them. So, so amazing, you guys. I hands down, I would probably suggest those for quality and price tag. Those would be my top ones. Okay, the last two. So Good as Gold was the holiday palette, and I don't know, something spoke to me about this one, and I thought, well, I don't want it to sell out like a couple others have been selling out, and then I don't get my hands on it, which it didn't. It was in stock for a while. Probably still is. It's very, very pretty. It's got the butterflies. Apparently they were going with a butterfly theme for a lot of things. And it literally is a gold palette. Nothing you haven't seen before, but just the fact of having different variations in a one-stop shop. Now, yes, I do own the Natasha Denona gold palette. Love that one. That one's like one of my favorites. It's beautiful. But this is a very awesome option for someone who wants different variations of gold shades. And I'm going to tell you that if you follow me on Instagram and you saw my New Year's Eve look, it was this palette. It was so, so easy to do. Stunning. I mean, this is a very glam palette. If you're wanting like I'm going out for the night and I need something to really set me apart and stand out, then this is for you. It does have a couple of shades with the chunky glitter. I know that's like also kind of a thing right now with people saying they don't want it in there, and I just think, you know, a lot of us do, and so it's just, you know, there's one or two that you may not be able to use, just like there are palettes that will have a couple things that I won't want to use, you know what I mean? Last but certainly not least, I picked up the Whatever palette. This is also one I have not yet been able to play with. Obviously, I was busy for the month of December, but this one had been getting so many good reviews from people on YouTube, which, of course, I mean, it's rare that something comes out that doesn't get a great review by Colourpop. I think in the last few months, probably the thing I liked the least, the palette I liked the least, was the Elsa palette from the Frozen 2 collection. I loved the Anna palette. The Elsa just... the color story didn't speak to me as much, but, you know, and there were a couple of shades that, oh, they could have been better. But given the Disney nerd that I am, I mean, I love Frozen. I had to have both. But anyways, total side squirrel moment. But a ton of people have been loving this one. One of them being Meg Lee. I don't know if you watch her or not, but La Vida de Meg is her vlog channel. Meg Lee is her beauty channel. She's been using this for a while now, and every time she uses it, I'm like mesmerized by her eye look, even though it's so simple, but it's so very pretty. So have not, again, put this one to use, but that's what this one looks like, and I'm excited to use this one probably this month for the month of January. Okay, guys. That was a lot of talking. I'm sorry if I moved quickly and talked a little too fast, but there was a lot to get through in a short amount of time. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed kind of going through each one of the palettes that I received or picked up for the month of December, what worked for me, what kind of didn't work for me, so that you know, based on what worked, and I think most things in this extravaganza worked, which was the same story with the last video. I loved them, but I'd rather love a product than be disappointed by it, obviously. But maybe there was something that kind of spoke to you and you would want to go check out. Maybe it's right up your alley. So again, hope you found it beneficial, entertaining, just fun to watch. All Alright, my friends, again, hope you enjoyed this. Before I let you go, I do want to give you a very quick verse of the day, just in an effort to encourage you and in an effort for us to be better in the year 2020. I know a lot of us start with resolutions and then we fall off, but at the end of the day, one thing we should always do, and it shouldn't even have to be a resolution, is to be kinder people, to be good to others. A smile can change somebody's day. A kind word can change somebody's day. You never know what someone's going through. And I feel like in the world we live in, it's easy to quickly get frustrated or agitated when someone is either rude to us or when they're just, when they're unkind. But at the end of the day, maybe that's just how they are and they need to change, but you don't know. Maybe in their personal life, you don't know what they're going through. Internally, you don't know what they're going through. So today's comes from Proverbs 25:11. And it says, "A word aptly spoken is like apples of gold in settings of silver." It's a beautiful thing to speak kind words, to speak appropriate words, to just be mindful of the way we're talking to others. Sometimes we don't even realize how we're coming across, and we do need to be mindful of that. All right, friends, thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and have a most wonderful rest of your day. Bye, guys.